get very concerned about how stuff gets cut up, if I could get taken out of context, and, not for nothing, but in the past, I've had some horror stories told on my podcast by various people over the years about some things that Discovery Channel has done, and that gave me a lot of pause. So when I explained the opportunity and asked you guys on Instagram whether or not I should do it, the poll was almost about 80-20 that I should do it. The 20% who said I shouldn't were very loud, and I fully understand why. But my friend Sean actually summed up a response that I got from a few different people the best that kind of put me over the top with, like, all right, let's do it. He was like, hey, do it. You talked about it publicly beforehand. Give people a heads up that you're doing it, which is why I've done that.
Okay. The frostiest buds that I have
you can clear the record and everything.
are right here, guys.
By saying,
We're gonna need to get some videos.
Edit down into 41 minutes, an investigation that clearly was about probably 18 hours worth of work, which was more than just me on there, by the way. I'll get to that in a minute. But, I don't think they really took stuff out of context or anything. I thought they did as good a job as they could do. I still want to watch it again to take, closer notes. But as far as, the team, first of all, the production team I worked with out there, which is not Discovery Channel, I forget the name of it, but the whole team was fucking awesome. Andy's team was amazing. I'll get to what that looked like and everything. But they put the edit together and the Discovery Channel signs off on it, and it came out fine. That said, when we were there that day, my day alone was an 8-hour shoot. And when you combine all the other experts I'll talk about, Andy, again, probably filmed about 18 hours worth of content. He and I, we know how we come from the independent media world, so we know how that works. And TV is a whole different beast.
Okay, the frostiest buds that I have grown. Thomas, what is up, dude?
How the hell are you gonna knock this down?
What did I wait on?
Things in this investigation, effectively,
Poll? Question mark? What are you asking, Thomas? Thanks for joining, you guys. Thanks for being out here.
Because it was very free flowing. The only cuts we had, takes, if you will, were when my fucking New Jersey ad went a little too far, and I'd be like,
He said Jersey. He is from Jersey.
Shit like that. Let me say that again. That was really dumb.
He is from Jersey.
The other example would be once we would finish filming something, if we were looking through pages, they'd be like, all right, now we're gonna come behind with the cameras. You don't have to say anything, just scroll through the same pages you were on your finger for B-roll. The rest of it was literally cameras rolling, everybody goes. To explain what we investigated in detail in 4 segments built around commercials is extremely difficult because the investigation was related to Epstein's death. Now, here's the full context once I decided to investigate.
Okay. We're getting to the meat and potatoes now. Menu, yes. You need a half pound. I can't do a half pound. Blackjack was one of your faves. It's black ice.
Went to bed, got up to take a piss at about 3:30, maybe 4.
Black ice, you guys.
Colorado time. And something inside me was like, why do I feel like we invaded Iran? Wow. Yeah. My dumb ass never does this, but I took my phone out because I'm like, I just want to show you. And voila, we had invaded Iran, so I didn't sleep the rest of the night. I was beside myself about it, so I'm fucking exhausted. It's a 7:15 a.m. car ride out of their call to go to set. So I go to set, and Andy has a buddy who owns a liquor store out in Colorado. And below the liquor store where they got all the wine and liquor, literally store.
All right.
It's this almost speakeasy prohibition kind of vibe. And in the back of it, he and the team set up this elaborate set for this show that he's doing, which I believe has 8 total episodes.
I'm getting it going.
This was episode 5. It was really fun.
Okay, this looks so crazy.
And so Andy had never.
This looks so fucking crazy.
Of what we would be discussing as it relates to Epstein. Someone told me we're gonna look at the Epstein case. case, and he said, I want to do it like your podcast, which is I don't know what the fuck I'm going to talk about when I go in there. Why don't I do that on you now? And we'll just discuss the case, and I'll tell you when you get in there what I'm actually going to be looking at. And so we started with
This is the previous batch
hour-long recording, just the two
of the
us
smaller buds that I had.
effectively interviewing me all about the case. And it was, I ain't gonna lie, like, who does so
A lot of smaller popcorn buds in that one, but there's huge buds on this next one.
We went through so many different ends and loops and holes of the case, and I was also shocked at Mr. CIA Langley himself, Andy Bustamante, right, during this conversation, which in my opinion,
Okay, the new batch has bigger buds for sure.
I'm like looking at him, and I'm looking at the film crew, I'm breaking the fourth wall like every 5 minutes, like looking at the camera. Like, you hear this guy? Yeah, what's the angle here? What's he doing?
Let's get all that keef in there.
Yeah, but we were going through all these.
All that pure powder.
They go, all right, that's great. Quick break, and then we'll do like the next segment, the next thing. And the crew was like, fuck, it's such a shame we're only gonna use like 30 seconds. That was awesome. I'm like, oh, god damn, so you're only use 30 seconds? They're like, yeah, man, that's just the exposition. That's biz. That's biz. That's hardcore biz. But at the very end, before we wrap, that was when he told me what we would be investigating. He looks at me and he goes, said something along the lines of, yeah, there's just so much here with this case, and as I told you before you came, I didn't want to specifically go through what I had decided to investigate for this episode, so you can kind of be surprised. But after looking at everything, I thought the best decision that I could make to re-examine something about this case would be investigate.
Does anyone want to see this? You guys, I got flagged. Do you guys want to see a close-up on it? I would love to show you a close-up on this. I've only trimmed a couple buds. Do you guys want to see a close-up? Alright, here we go. Wait for it. Wait for it.
Now, if you wouldn't mind, Julian, I'd like you to look to your right. So I turn over to the right, and there's a giant door with two, like a prison door, with two caution tape.
My
signs
God.
over it. And actually, can you pull up Andy's Instagram, Steve? Because he has a picture of it on there. And I immediately, like, kind of go, wow, that looks familiar. And he goes, behind that door.
That's the black ice, you guys. That's the black ice.
2 minutes after this next break. And effectively what it is Jeffrey Epstein's cell. And I was like, what? And he goes, we rebuilt Jeffrey Epstein's cell based on all the data of what it actually looked like down to the detail, including the pill bottles on the bed. And now I'm like looking at the crew like, oh shit.
It's 150 per ounce of the black ice, you guys.
I underestimated this a little bit. So we take a quick break, we come back down, he's like, all right, you ready to go?
Get ready.
Now, let me give a little exposition on
Coming at you.
Okay, so you guys have context on what it was for people who haven't seen it. The way the show ended up coming out was there were 1, 2, 3, I think it was 4 segments. The first segment was a little intro.
That crazy black ice.
Andy talking on remote interviews with Dr. G Reacts from YouTube, who's done some great work on this case, where Dr. G walks him through.
Thank you, Laurie.
That we do have from outside the cell that night.
Thank you so much for joining along, you guys. Yes, I do have carts. I do have carts. I have live rosin carts available.
Bill Mercy, I believe his name is, who was Jeffrey.
Are all the terps white? I don't know what that means. Terps are clear. Terpenes are clear. Trichomes are white. Yes. Trichomes are amber. If you look with a microscope, they're ready. These were gone for over 9 weeks. So, thank you, Laurie. Yeah, this strain is always kind of unfortunate to trim because it's actually so frosty that
say
it almost
something.
instantly gums up the
Or,
scissors.
got the guy to say all the things that he said
So,
before, which is like,
That's
for
unfortunate.
example, he said that Jeffrey would be talking with him, and then he'd be like, you know what, Billy, I'm tired, and he would lay back and fall asleep right away. But allegedly, this is someone who's supposed to be suffering from sleep apnea and who's extremely stressed, but he can fall asleep right away.
One thing he said that I found interesting too is he was a really like regular nobody type guy, which like when you look at all the pictures and all, like you think this guy thinks he's on top of the world. It was just that was very interesting.
Yeah, he was basically saying he wasn't entitled.
Yeah, exactly. Like he was very like down to earth and salt of the earth.
Yes.
That's weird.
And he said obviously he had this disgusting other side to him, but I never saw that when I was with him, which was fascinating for him to say that. But the reason Andy wanted him to repeat some of these things is because it's like depressed, suicide, sleep apnea, but if you sleep right at like there's things that weren't clocking there, and there were some other details as well, and some of them I'm not remembering, so I don't understand.
Holy shit, it's so frosty, you guys. These buds are looking crazy.
Suicide, he did the same thing.
It's 150 per ounce, my friend.
His name was Billy Mercy. Yeah. He did the same thing.
$150.
Here's his cell back here, and you were there, so you'll be able to tell us how good a job we did rebuilding it. Takes Bill into the cell, and Bill was like, "This is perfect. This is exactly what his cell was." And so, here's the first place where I want to say there was a difference with how they had to do the final edit on the show versus what I heard. Once Bill looked at the cell on the show, and they can only show like 60 seconds worth of Andy walking them through things in the cell. When in reality, he was probably standing in the cell with Andy for like an hour and a half, going through every detail. But the wrap up of that segment is Billy Mercy saying something on camera like, "Well, I have to admit, there are some new questions I have now. You've certainly opened the door to some new possibilities." What I heard is that he basically walked out of there shook. Like, everything that he thought was not what it was. That is the takeaway that other people had there, and I think that's important to be able to say. It's tough for them to like edit some things down the camera.
That's rough.
How we doing, guys? How we doing?
So then he brought in. He also.
Oh, the carts are $45 per cartridge. You order by sending me a message, or you can just send me money right now on Cash App. Island time. I'll put you on the list with the other people if you send it to me right now.
So I told you what we did when we first got there, and then the fact that we went into the cell. Now we spent a long time in the cell, and what made the
I'll put you on the list right now if you send me the money.
when I went in there, my thought was that, oh wow, Andy's actually going to open up to the possibility that this guy was murdered. What I didn't expect was that it was going to go well beyond that. So we get in there. You can see a screenshot of it right here. This is from the episode. This was one of the camera angles. And I was stunned at how much it looked the same. And Andy had, you can see me holding papers right there. Oh, we got to plug that in. All right, so it's going to be up on the screen in a second. You're going to see the cell in 1 second, and you're going to see me holding papers, which were all these shots of inside the cell from every angle so we can see it. So now it's up on the screen right here. You can see the pill bottles up top, the windows. They have the walls built perfectly and everything.
That's wild.
The L in the wall in a second. And so Andy also had outside, and he told me this right before we walked in, every single available government report from any agency or bureau that was disseminated to the public in full binder form right there for us to review, which he had done an extensive review on and found all kinds
Holy
of
fuck, you guys.
most of which
I have to take a picture of this one. Do you guys want to see? Do you guys want to see one more crazy one before we restart?
left the cell, we went outside and he and I compared documents and broke down pages for a couple hours. And it was like, whoa. So as a quick preview, one of the things that we discussed there is something that has now been discussed a lot in public that he was able to confirm through the FBI report, the DOJ report, and some of the exhibits listed within, in some cases, they contradicted each other, but it was unanimous that Jeffrey Epstein had testified in a deposition that he did not have a pancreas, but in the autopsy, they found the pancreas.
Hey guys, I said pancreas, I meant to say prostate, sorry, ignore that, I was saying pancreas here.
And discussed that it was a normal pancreas.
That's not good.
It's total, and I could see Andy, like, even before we got outside the cell, when we were still in the cell going through all the exercises, some of which I don't think he went through with Billy Mercy, because
Okay.
I started throwing out other possibilities. He was like, ooh, let's try that, you know? I could see him, how do I explain this? Like, Andy, if you know him, or if you, at least if you've seen him, like,
You guys,
he is a
look at this picture. Is this a good picture or not?
just like, oh, this is what it is. You show him the worst thing ever. He's like, wow, it sucks. You know, he doesn't get here or here. Like, you know, he'll get mad at stuff when he's trying to make a point. He feels like he's right when you're telling him you're fucking wrong. But he doesn't react to things Columbus did.
Yeah, he's a 0-1 guy.
Yeah. But I could see he was perplexed. Like, what the fuck is going on here? And so when we were in the cell, in the Discovery Channel cut, they had like the one line, this was the one disappointing part.
Here it is.
Discussing like, oh, the will to stay there if your feet
Is that a good picture?
Yourself hang. You know, that doesn't make any sense, but that's just one possibility.
What are you gonna order? Because if you're ordering, it's also 15 for shipping
Off the bat.
on top. So if you're getting a live rosin cartridge, it's 20 or it's $45 plus 15, so 60 total.
Behind the scenes, I don't like talking about that publicly, but I have to say things like this. Everything we're discussing here is based on public case, government available data.
It's 15 for shipping on top.
Nothing here related to how to do anything or anything like that. It was not purely for educational purposes. And obviously, we do not condone any actions that Jeffrey Epstein may or may not have taken. Sorry. But there's two ends of the bed. If we pull that up again. And Andy had all the bed sheets, the orange bed sheets, like to a T, what they had been in there and everything he had access to, which was fucking crazy, by the way.
I mean, this is insane.
That he had access to all that stuff. You know, and we determined based on the government reports, they had said that he did the deed on the right side, right behind Andy, right there. Can you pull that up?
Yep, so
It's up. So he did the deed on the right side right there, and there was some argument, I don't have the reports in front of me, where it's like, well, did he do it lower or higher? We looked at every possibility. And the possibility that a human being could get themselves to do without then having to fight the will of life would require Jeffrey Epstein in this case to jump
No.
away where he breaks his neck immediately so that he can fight back. And so the best way to do that based on the tools he had and how the cell was found was to basically use that orange strand that you see right behind Bustamante hanging from the ledge that was through a keyhole, sit up on the edge of the bed up there, tie it around his neck, get into a crouch position, and with that very small, he had it down to the inch how long that thing was, with that very small strand, be able to leap far enough to not hit his head on the bed because there were no contusions on the back of his head. That was a key part of the report, meaning he would have had to jump out
yeah, wow.
and not hit his head. And so Andy and I did that, but he had a test dummy too, but that was exactly 6 foot 2 scale, Jeffrey Epstein size. I looked at Andy and I brought up the contusion part. And I said, Andy, LeBron James couldn't make that jump. Like look at the length of the bed sheet.
Okay, that was a really good video.
He's a 60-something-year-old man. Even if he got down into a fully athletic position and then made the leap,
I probably have to restart it on TikTok, you guys.
his head will whip back and it will hit basically like a raised edge, metal edge of the bed, without a doubt.
Will you rejoin Island Time? Did you want to get on the list, brother?
Yeah, but like you didn't see the tests. When he was doing the tests, I was like, they had a cameraman.
All right, I love you, you guys.
But they had a cameraman in the corner behind that.
I'll be back.
Right there.
Join back right now. I'm restarting the stream.
Looking at the cameraman while he's doing it. Like, why does he look like?
Found yourself scrolling again?
No,
Lonely.
no.
He claims like, so if I took it like this, just like watch him, and it's not like watching a fucking, MMA fighter or a jujitsu fucking master
No,
doing something. It was like, yes, it was like watching someone who was getting ready to clean up a body. And so I'm like, yeah, Andy's career was interesting. It started off as a failure and then ended up in some interesting places, if you know his story. But that's a separate issue for another day. And so he went through every way, and then he like sat on the edge of the bed and looked up at me, and he's like, "Yeah, no, he couldn't have done that." And so then we went to the left side of the bed, which made no sense according to any report or what was found. But we said, if they totally lied about everything that was over there, how we have done it. I don't even remember what we did there, but it wasn't possible. It wasn't possible without him sitting on the ground. It wouldn't have made any sense. Nothing there would have made sense.
So is there like any concrete evidence that he's gonna talk about? Probably not, I guess, right?
We go through the pancreas thing. We also
Oh, the pancreas thing. The pancreas thing is really fucking weird.
The official reports of Jeffrey Epstein's death open, and there were discrepancies between the two everywhere. I'm not even gonna list them out. I can't even remember all of them. We lost count. I want to say like photographic memory saying it was like page 76 to 79 of the FBI report had like, this isn't like that, this isn't like that, like looking over back at the DOJ, this isn't like that, this is, we were sitting there and we were dumbfounded looking at each other. All the while, I'm saying to Andy, like he's asking me, he's like, so how are you feeling about this? and I was like, I went from being like a jokester and having fun, like in a good way, where we're having good rapport, getting good content, to getting more and more speechless and reserved. Most of the tape you see of me is when I was very speechless and reserved. None of the like excited moments, which there were a lot, really made me go.
Yeah.
So I was getting more like, what the fuck? And he's asking me again, like how I'm feeling. And
Sorry, I'm taking a picture, guys.
I'm turning to Andy and I'm looking back at the cameraman, looking at the camera, I'm looking at Andy and I'm like, you? Are you suggesting what I think you're, like you, Andy Bustamante, Mr. No conspiracies ever exist, everything's Occam's razor, it's all just stupidity, fucking Santa Claus isn't real. Are you suggesting that Jeffrey Epstein is still alive? And he said something along the lines to me of saying, I'm suggesting that I'm looking at the reports and I'm very perplexed. It doesn't add up to me. Now my head's going back all the way to our very first recording. I remember episode 97. I want to say it's like 45 minutes into it. This is back in April 2022. We recorded this. It came out at the beginning of May 2022. Andy, and this is before I knew the actual backstory of his career, so we were talking about things that they did without me also knowing, like some of the things he literally
Sorry,
did.
just getting some videos, you guys. Just getting some videos. This is the frostiest buds that I've ever grown.
It might. I don't know.
These are truly the frostiest buds.
He talked about exfiltration.
I'll probably save the rest of the videoing for the final buds at the end.
There's multiple ways to do it. One of the ways he discussed was like taking people out in a canister and giving them MREs, and they just live in a fucking tanker truck unit for like 4 days. An MRE is, all the military people out there listening, you guys know exactly what it is, but it's like, set up little meal plans,
It's like
if you
a
will.
packet of sustenance. That's what it is.
It's called a meal ready to eat, you fucking
The military guys will
goofball. Sorry, we're watching a guy that's trying to talk about some new evidence on Epstein.
Alright. If they
on that, basically that very, very clearly proves that things were fishy with that.
The official Bureau of Prison
That's what we're not gonna live it down, you guys. You can't let them get away with it, or else that's how this perpetuates. You know what I'm saying? Can't let them get away with it.
That it's wrong. For one side in particular.
No fucking way.
And literally I was like Ben Affleck in the town when they see the cop after that whole chase, and the cop's just like looking right at him, and he's like, I literally look at him like that, and he goes, let's go back to the cell. So again, if you can pull this up, you can see that there is a full corner of this cell. So the door is directly behind my back, and the corner of the cell makes an indented L in the room. And what Andy discovered is that it was a vent, an air duct. There's effectively an 8x4 room on the other side of that. Wow, that you can get into, and you cannot see. That's why that was that funny meme from the show. I'll pull it up right here on my phone so you can see it. I put this on Instagram, but there's a hilarious meme where he had Nigo stand looking through the prison door like this, and he took the dummy like he was choking it behind the L to demonstrate. He was like, Julian, can you see me? And I'm like, nope. So I'm staring through the door. I put this up on Instagram because someone needs to make a fucking meme out of this. But this is what, can you see it, Keith?
Yeah.
This is what it looked like. See him shaking,
Yeah.
right? And he's like, I could be killing him right here, and you would not know. So I'm looking through, and I cannot see behind that L, meaning if the security guard, those people were fucking out to lunch, but if they were standing at the door,
Right.
they literally wouldn't be able to tell if anything, whether it's someone killing them, or someone putting them in the vent, putting a new person in there, a body double, or whatever it is, they wouldn't be able to see it on that end. He then walked through with me, and this is, I had a full-blown redux to episode 97 during this. He walked through exactly the 72-hour period how Jeffrey Epstein, if it needed to be that long, would survive in there, and then proceeded to very nonchalantly go for 72 hours. He said, I've determined this mission to get him out of this prison is very easy. It could have been done with 3 people, one of whom is an inmate on the team. 3 people. And then he walked me through like a serial killer walking like a serial killer walking through exactly how something so crazy and evil is done. He was like, step 1, I don't even remember it. Laundry cart, this guy, you get this type of prisoner right over there, approximately.
Dude, this stuff is so frosty, it's insane. I kind of feel like maybe it's time to take another dab. I sort of want to watch a movie, you guys. Can anyone recommend a good old, like, wholesome movie, like a Disney movie or something not crazy? Just a good old classic. What can you recommend, you guys? Does anyone have any movie recommendations while we try to finish out this insanely frosty black ice? Which, by the way, does anyone want to take a dab with me? Are we dabbing?
I disagree with him on that part. True company.
Zero Tyson's, yeah.
I don't want to say Andy said 0. It's just that was a part of the conversation that conveniently would be not brought up. But there's also other places, because what Andy seems to be getting with is that, the whole elite kind of cabal of all different psychos around the world, like Jeffrey Epstein was wired into that. And as a side note, like I said, this is the day the Iran war was breaking out. So when we first got in there and we're sitting in the back room before we started, and Andy and I are just, catching up, whatever, I looked at him. And he's like, I know, man. I know. He's like, I saw it coming. It's fucked up. That's the way he said. I'm like, no shit, Sherlock. But I'm like, what is happening? The Ayatollah wasn't dead for another 4 hours.
I was gonna say, maybe his ghost woke you up in the middle of the night, but he wasn't dead yet.
I don't know, bro. No, it wasn't. The Ayatollah, we found out like halfway through the shoot, I was eating like a fucking Quest bar. I'm like, Andy, they whacked the Ayatollah. He was like,
Yes, I have it saved for you.
It was like really surreal. But I forget how it came up where we're talking about the war and I'm just like beside myself and I'm like, who's this for, man? This is not in our interest. You know it and I know it. And he goes, no, it's not. And then Andy, in prototypical Andy fashion, said, and he said it better than that. He has such a way with words, like, so annoying. Like how perfectly he'll put something that you don't want to hear, that also sometimes it's total propaganda, but other times it's like, yeah, nah, that's actually right. He said, yeah, the two wildest days at CIA are the day you learn how the world really works and the day you learn how you can operate within it at CIA. And then he goes, that first day is a really tough day. And he's talking about like the Rockefellers and shit.
Yeah.
In the context, and like the Rothschilds, in the context of the conversation, and basically confirming to me that these ideas that like they're pulling some strings and the intelligence is just a fucking tool of it. That's what Andy Bustamante was saying. Like, again, Mr. Langley.
Yes, of course the Rockefellers are basically in charge of the CIA.
I don't know
That makes so much sense.
Maybe both, but
Is there any conspiracy tinfoil hat gang members out there that want to join me on this whole conspiracy? Basically, the families like the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers have strings to pull within the CIA.
It's not one or two, it's all.
And they have a lot to control and command over that. Or Cheech and Chong, that would be a good one.
That's what stuck with me. And
I've watched all the Cheech and Chong stuff.
The guy killed himself. I always had to leave a possibility out there, 0.01% that maybe he did, but I've always been on record.
You are? Hell yeah.
And really,
Well, these are the frostiest buds that I've ever seen.
I've thought about it before. I've thought about it. Yeah.
And the Orsini family. I don't even know the Orsini family.
They
But yeah, we're talking about some Rothschilds, fucking Bilderbergs, Rockefellers, the royal family of Britain, of London, of the UK, all the royal families.
I still have to talk to him about everything we looked at here. But, obviously a lot of people disagree with that take. That said, it was the intro to episode 388 where after he had said that part, I brought up the idea of like, if you wanted to exfiltrate someone out of there, how would you do it? And he said, I'd have a body that everyone can see. And I went through the whole thing and like made it sound so easy. Like, yeah, of course they can do body doubles and shit like that. And so now I'm thinking about that. Which, by the way, the Discovery Channel team put that in the episode.
Yeah.
They put a bunch of teriyaki stuff in there, including that clip.
Alright, you guys, I'm so excited about these buds. These buds literally are fucking insane.
Hey, whatever you need for content, baby. Like I respect that a lot about him. He doesn't care like when people are shredding him about stuff. He's like, whatever, And obviously in the Danny Jones podcast, which with Kiriakou and Andy, which was recorded back in August 2024, it's an amazing podcast. By the way. What's wild, I've said this before on camera on these episodes, 80 to 85% of it, John and Andy like agree with each other, which was nuts. And then in the second hour, there's like a period where Andy tries to go at John, and like, John got him. It's just straight up. And Andy's points, what I've said before is, I don't think Andy actually believes the things he was literally saying to John, because I look at like how Andy lives his life and the things he does, and like he does like the opposite of that. And that's where it's like, he's just representing Langley or whatever. But, like, I think Andy was like, because we were talking about the Kiriakou podcast when we were out there. It's like, fucking great podcast. Like he had seen it. So I think he probably wanted some of that in there because the context was very relevant for what we were talking about with that stuff. So it worked. having a total, because again, I'm filming with a TV crew, which I'm already like a little, the crew is fucking awesome, like I said, but you're still like skeptical of how this is gonna come out, and I don't wanna be an idiot, but I'm like reacting live, and I was speechless. I had nothing, I'm like, hey, this guy's fucking alive, isn't he? And he's like, that's why I brought you here. I'm investigating. I don't know. But everything Andy's pointing to is like, yeah, he's alive. So the last on the show, that didn't come up till the last 5-minute segment. And this is where Andy hedged. This is where he hedged. I believe, and I can't speak for Andy Bustamante, because he has not said.
Holy shit, this stuff is so incredibly frosty.
I believe.
What did you say, Gleb?
But when he went to do the final part of the show, like the last.
They built the modern Israel.
At CIA,
That makes so much sense.
Work on a scale from, it's real terminology, I don't remember what it was, but effectively like, definitely not true. or
So they're Jews, is what you're saying.
Everything in between. He goes, I can't rule out.
The Rothschilds are Jews?
Jeffrey Epstein isn't alive, but I would score it as not probable. So not impossible.
I was gonna say, because isn't the royal family Catholic? But then I just realized that the king this year of Britain did not celebrate Easter. Instead, he said he wanted to celebrate Islam.
I think at some point in the final.
Do you guys remember that?
For an hour about it on camera. I think I did say.
I thought that was wild.
Like he's definitely alive. Because I'm like shocked. I feel pretty strongly that he probably is, and I did not feel that way walking in there. So.
You remember when you called me after?
Oh yeah, so I forgot this during the day. Yeah, and like I'm fucking with him the whole day. I'm fucking with him on camera too. The crew was like loving it because they see like we have this dynamic. Like they definitely had the most fun with us.
Your episode,
Yeah, because like everyone else they're bringing in, like he doesn't know or he's meeting for the first time, but like this fucking guy wonderful. Like we go way back. You know what I mean? So and we always enjoy fucking with each other, and we've always been good sports about that.
I am trimming the black ice, Gleb.
I do as well. Like,
Black
in
ice.
that way, it's a good relationship. But throughout the day, when we would take, 10-minute breaks between set, I would fucking like beeline Raj outside to where there's signal and call Danny Jones deep. At one point, my mom, and shout out to the mic guy because he probably had to listen to all this while I was like,
you were still
going,
going nuts.
what the fuck is going on? I was like freaking out.
I just imagined you when you called me, like just doing your pace. Like I just imagined you walking in a circle.
Yes.
And I was at home that day too, so I'm just like pacing around my house, and I'm like,
Wow. I believe it. Dude, I was pacing like around the dumpster. Just like, holy shit, he's like, what the
yeah,
fuck?
you were fired up. You were really
It was
fired up.
really like, the mic guy was probably back there, like, man. No, well done. I was just competing. I was like, usable because I was just repeating everything we said in there. I was just doing it in a louder way. It was probably-
Except saying expletives in between everything, so it was like, oh, we can't use this.
But I was already doing that all day, let's face it. That is also why the edit was probably pretty difficult for these guys. Because like, at the end of that hour, they were so happy about it, but I was like apologizing. I'm like, guys, I'm from New Jersey. I don't do heat. I'm sorry. And they're like, no, it's fine. We can fix all that. I'm like, I would go, like I said. But there was one other segment I wanted to address, and that was when Dr. Priya came in there. Now, what is her last name? Priya Banerjee, I want to say her name is. She is a she was a former chief medical examiner. I want to say in Rhode Island or Maryland, one of those two.
It was Maryland, yeah.
Maryland.
And Rhode Island, yeah.
And Rhode Island. And she did that, I think, for like 12 or 13 years straight. And
Holy
then-
shit, you guys. Do you want to see one of the craziest buds I've ever fucking seen, even in my whole life? Do you want to see this?
Came in after-
Does anyone want to take a peek at this?
I told you about in the cell,
This is fucking crazy. I don't know if anyone's watching, but my God.
We did the same thing to her where we said, here's the prison cell, let's go in. And what she said, I have to be careful here because there were things said off record as well. What she said on camera, I can't remember everything that made the cut on there, but what she said on record on camera is that the narrative of suicide has a lot of problems. And she walked through injury by injury, all these different things. And this is one place where the 41-minute edit thing is a huge problem because these are such intricate details. We were discussing each detail for 10 minutes apiece.
Yeah. Yeah, you miss all that context.
And
Yeah.
when you're just getting 3 quick medical terms thrown
Yeah.
at you and followed by 4 more and 6 more and 2 more, you know, in the span of 90 seconds on a TV edit, it's in one ear. For me, it was in one ear out the other.
That's how it felt for me too. It's just like when she started showing the neck thing, I was like, I'm kind of
Yep.
yeah.
Well, we went through, we gave her all the binders and everything and showed her the discrepancies, which by the way, I forgot this one. The FBI and the DOJ.
Holy fuck, you guys. Is anyone there? Glep, here, Glep. Glep, I need to show you this.
It was like these-
This is literally insane, Glep.
How does that not call for some sort of like
Nothing. is
Are you
said,
there,
right?
Glep?
Yeah, well,
There's nothing to see.
obviously not.
Okay?
That's wild.
Sarge, Glep, anyone out there?
And personally,
Yes, I'll show you guys in a second.
They say he's dead. Apparently he's not dead. And
This is so
we
crazy.
discussed this. So we're not gonna-
I can't even believe this shit.
My job at JP Morgan.
I can't even believe it.
You started JP Morgan.
That's there you go.
You're really fucked.
Figuratively and literally.
Well, the literally part, I think you'll enjoy it.
My God.
But, like I said, a few things Dr. Priya said off record, I cannot say. What I will say is.
Okay. It's your guys' turn. Is anyone watching over here?
Good cop, good cop.
Is anyone watching?
Just peppering her.
Here we
with
go.
everything she's already gone through, and you could just see her mind, like, holy shit. Like, I think she's very doubtful on the suicide part. And I would say she's very, very doubtful on that. But when we took her in the cell.
Look at that.
And redid all the demonstrations. that
Look
did
at my black ice.
earlier, she was just like, no. I wouldn't work.
It's unreal.
I wouldn't work. Everything was that it wouldn't work. And we're just like, wow.
It's unreal, yeah.
Korea does like all mainstream media stuff. And like I said,
Wow.
Andy and I are from the independent-
Insane.
Andy's literally from the independent world.
It's a White Widow with Black Domina.
We're used to just fucking letting it fly.
Yeah.
And I think she was really tight on that because this is like the most controversial case in mankind's history.
Sure.
And she was worried about getting something wrong. That's how I describe it. Because she was, she had studied the case inside and out. She's discussed it publicly before, but she had gone through the case again fresh before she went in there. But again, then we were showing her new things that like she couldn't prep. So that's she's a doctor. I'm a fucking podcast, so this is not,
Yeah.
these do very different things.
Yeah.
But she was excellent and went through everything in complete detail and really confirmed, like, again, rule out the suicide completely. It's just not, it's not possible. He did not kill himself. That much I will set in stone at this point. I have no problem saying that. And again, I think there's a strong possibility that they got him out of there. But I'm trying to think. We filmed for 8 hours.
You guys, I have to restart. I'm sorry. I love you. Please follow me.
Weekend before, Andy filmed for 2 or 3 hours.
Please follow me.
We react, and then we are post reporter, and then he did.
Found yourself scrolling again? Maybe you're
Oh
feeling
my
anxious.
God.
About 3 hours with Dr. Priya with us.
Hey.
But then he did a bunch of voiceovers and narration.
How do we get hit with that
So
chick all the
we did
time?
15 to 20 hours worth of
How does that chick end up
The
conquering?
hope, and this is what Andy and I were discussing that day, I haven't had a chance to talk to him this week to see where he's at with it, but he was hoping that Discovery would give him permission to post longer versions of stuff on YouTube to promote the show. I hope he is able to do that, because like I said, we'd have those 10-minute breaks and stuff where we filmed basically continually without really having to do takes other than to get B-roll. And it was a lot of great information, a lot of great stuff. I was really impressed with the scope that he had looked at. I was unfamiliar with Andy's game on that for this issue. I mean, this used to be, you could roll the tape on like the first Diorio Bustamante sit down with Danny Jones and I on Concrete 166. Like, you used to not even say the word Epstein, but you'd get to a word like blackmail, and he would see where you're going, and he would get angry and shut it the fuck down. And now he's doing TV episodes about it. So do with that what you will. But I do, again, I want to give a huge shout out to the production team. They were fucking awesome. And there's one other detail, I mentioned it, that we got included here, which is that the unexpected other co-star on the show was our dear friend Kurt Metzger. So Discovery sends me the executive producer of the show, Brad, sends me a text like the day we filmed with Kurt Metzger and says, "Hey man, there's one edit we want to do on the show where we want it to look like you're saying something on your actual podcast for the voiceover. So if I gave you like this short script, would you just
Okay, what in the...
on a podcast?" And Deep and I like look at each other and we're like, "Yeah, that's such a TV kind of." But we're like, all right, fine, we'll do it. So I take this laptop, I sit in my regular seat like I'm talking to a guest over there, and there's like 4 run-on sentences I gotta read. And we have like 5 minutes to do this. So I'm like, Deep, I'm not memorizing this. I'm just gonna go like line by line, and then we'll pause, and I'll find a guest afterwards to like edit in for each of those spots. So we film it real quick. I make it all dramatic, lean forward, like the thing that's just killing me. And I go outside, and I'm like, I wonder who I should put on this. We just filmed with Kurt Metzger earlier that day. So I'm like, let me see if I can find some Kurt B-roll. The problem with Kurt Metzger B-roll, just to start off with that, is that there's really never a point where he's not talking, including when you're talking. So I can't really find times where his mouth is not moving, which is going to be a problem for cutting to his face in between these lines. Until I scrolled to, I don't know, maybe like the hour and a half mark on the footage of him and found a spot where in his sunglasses, holding his fucking pipe, 6 Claw Kurt was repping his White Claw. And I'm like, me, I'm such a little fuck. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. So I cut in like 3 different spots. The first time I say this like really serious line, it cuts to Kurt, and you're gonna see it in a minute, and he like rips a claw, and then the next time he's like playing with the pipe in the sunglasses. I cut it together, I send it to Deep, he's fucking crying. And I'm like, I'm gonna send it over to Discovery. They're never gonna accept this, but fuck it. So I sent it over to Discovery, and they're like, "Looks great." I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't watch it." But then when I was on Danny Jones' podcast a couple weeks ago, I talked about that on air, and Brad, shout out Brad, the executive producer, sends me a text, goes, "Listening to you on Danny Jones right now. Fuck yeah, we left the claw in." So this was let's play it. This was the footage.
When you strip away all the noise, the thing I keep coming back to is how strange those final days were. You got a guy who's just been taken off suicide watch in what is supposedly one of the most secure federal institutions in America, huge air quotes there. And conveniently, in this secure institution, the cameras aren't working, the guards fall asleep, and nobody's checking on them. Now, we allegedly know a lot about what happened and what didn't happen outside the cell, but after all these years, no one has been able to provide me with a coherent narrative of what happened inside the cell.
Seeing that, like, you have Andy with very serious voiceover, the dramatic music playing, and then it cuts to that and White Claw first. It gives me so much life.
Okay.
And then, they even
You guys.
footage of Kurt's episode with Danny Jones.
We're gonna take a dab. Is anyone out there? Is anyone out there?
Like Andy's like narrating to the camera. He's like, and
This is the frostiest stuff I have grown, you guys. This is the frostiest,
oh, yeah,
most fire,
it's in the file.
most insane product I have grown.
It's in the files.
I will be showing it at the end.
It's like, where is it in the files?
I already just showed it and had to restart. So we're gonna do a dab first, then we're gonna finish it out. It's only gonna take me about 20 more minutes, and then we are going to show it all live on stream. Yes, I ship it, yes. So stay with us. Will you stay in the stream for 20 minutes? That's it. All you have to do is stay with us and like the stream. Like the stream. Stay with us and like the stream.
Channel is age restriction proof, luckily. Unlike
Oh, I have an idea. I have an idea.
that is
No.
details I've missed.
Yes, I have an idea. I have an idea. We are gonna take a dab.